This is the camera, isn't it?
So good to have you join us back, and it's still the Good Morning Cross River Thursday edition. And once again, welcome to your number one breakfast show. A whole lot has happened in the face of Calabar of late, and when we say a whole lot, now we narrow it down to the incessant fire outbreaks there in that institution. Of course, that's also my alma mater. Now, we have joining us the Director of Servicom Unicol, Professor Patrick Egaga, as we would take a look at the recent fire outbreaks in Unicol and also look at a few other issues going on in that institution. Professor Patrick Egaga, so good to have you join us this morning.
Morning.
Let's start with these recent fire outbreaks we have in the University of Calabar. Talk to us on this, because it has happened up to about 3 times in the space of less than 10 days.
Yeah, okay. I will comment on the fire outbreak on the basis of its interference or interruption with delivery of services, which is the core mandate of my directorate. That we have to serve and ensure that we serve well, and anybody who is coming, who is deriving any service from the university must also be served well. I feel very concerned, or the directorate rather feels very concerned at the speed, the frequency, the voracity, the sporadic nature, and the number of times that these fire outbreaks have happened. You discover that in the university, sometimes in December or so last year, there was you say it's a fire outbreak. There was a fire outbreak in the graduate school where vital documents were destroyed. After that, as if that was not enough, this year we woke up to see what looks like a baptism of fire. In fact, as it is now, it's like a baptism of fire, because we have had fire outbreaks after the graduate school, at the Department of Mathematics. From the Department of Mathematics, it moved to religion. From religion, it moves to history. From history, it moved to Faculty of Law. Faculty of Law, it has moved to Faculty of Education. And all these ones, for instance, you discover that it looks like it is a well-planned, well-organized, well-implemented dastardly act.
Yeah, because I was about coming to Prof.
Yes.
It appears that this happens back to back, and we see the kind of calculated approach used. So, like I said this morning, it doesn't look like an accident anymore. This looks like a premeditated event happening in your school. Talk to us on that.
Yes, that is what my suspicions are. But for fear of the fact that the Senate is yet to meet on this development, we may not want to elaborate more on it, so that I do not preempt whatever will happen if there is an inquiry, because definitely there will be an inquiry. The matter is of very serious concern to anybody. In fact, if you discover what happened in the Department of Mathematics, Department of Mathematics was burnt Sunday night or wee hours of Monday morning, the previous week. And what happened in the Department of History was exactly 1 week after, same time. Yesterday, for instance, in the Faculty of Education, Department of Continuing Studies, the department was also raised down almost about the same time. But see, there is no way by which we will not suspect that there are other human factors, either internal or external or both combined. Because in this case, I think they were able to trace evidences, or recover evidences that showed that it was not just an outbreak; it was something that was planned. So what you are seeing is that the institution is being attacked, and
where were they?
Well, I may not be very competent to comment on the issues of security, but I know that security everywhere, there are loopholes. They don't serve us the best because, of course, if we're security men on our own, we will know that we will do all the best that we think we can do, but then they may still leave loopholes. But you see, for something that is organized, something that is planned, something that is coordinated, and then the implementation is without foolproof, it is also possible that they have to also study the security system. The securities themselves are human beings. They are not machines. You understand? They have to look for those loopholes to ensure that once they strike, they are also not caught. So it is possible that those are the areas that they are looking at.
You know, it's very sad because you made a point that the PG school at some point late last year was raised.
Yes.
And we also are aware that I think Max was the target was the exams officer. So
Yes.
yeah, and vital documents would have been destroyed by now. So what's the fate of Unicol students, especially Cross Riverians, because you're very passionate about that because
Yes.
one, you're a Cross Riverian, you've taught there for 20-something years, and this is affecting not just Cross River students, a whole lot of students across the states and the nation.
Yes. Well, you know, the vital document, that is raw documents. Hard
You have
documents.
backups?
I'm coming, sir.
Okay.
Hard copies of documents may have been lost. But you see, with the transformation that is happening currently in the university, even if you burn a document, that document has several other offices. Some of them are even online. In fact, most, especially results. Results now, you can even access a student's result as you are sitting. If you are interested in a particular case of a student, you want to establish whether that student is fake or real. All that you need to do is to get to the appropriate university website, download information, get information about the specific student, and know his or her performances. That's what is happening. So, you know, what I believe is that the hard copies of these documents may be lost, but the soft copies are available. Because how the soft copies are available? Even if you go to a departmental office or an exam officer's office and pick his laptop, the same results he has is what the vice chancellor has in her own laptop. Is what the deputy vice chancellor has. Is what the registrar has. Is what, you know, other exam officers have, even across departments. So you see that they locate, except you have to go and start, you know, assembling these people to burn whatever they have. You have not destroyed anything.
I feel it will be whatever it is, just an act of futility.
Yes, you know, it is a failed action. This is what we describe as failed action.
Professor Gaga, one would want to ask, why would students, if at all they are students, or why would that syndicate, so to say, go about burning places in school?
It's very
because
simple.
you know you are the director of Sevicom.
Yes.
And it has to do with service delivery. Is it
Yes.
that there are some issues with the management in terms of service delivery and the students? Tell me, why would they go
Now,
back?
you
Because
see,
this is happening for the very first time in history of
Yes.
that,
You see,
that we have it all
the
of the time.
challenge that is there is also very simple. The fact is that these students, if they are students, may decide to engage in this kind of acts, hoping that they will bring the system down, but they won't succeed. The reason is that more than, you know, a significant number of them, there are some students, in quote, who have been students in Unica before I was admitted as a graduate assistant in 1995. They are still there, they have not graduated. So it is like the university now is transformed to a living home. Because during holidays, they don't go home. In fact, like most of them that I know, I tell them, your parents and grandparents, I know they are from Unica. You will not go to anywhere. In fact, I will retire and leave you here as a student. And they are there. These are the people that are creating problems. They are not really, in the real sense of it, bona fide students. They have found themselves into the system and they remain there. That is why you discover that during the holidays, it takes something else for you to ask students to come out for the renovation of hostels. For instance, when the hostels were being renovated, sometimes last year, it took administration a very long time to persuade the students to completely leave the hostel. Even as they left, some of the students will park to one end of the hostel that is not renovated, only for them to move to the appropriate place at the appropriate time. And you see, administration has a very large heart. It has to accommodate students. Even if they know that you are operating in an illegality, they will not want to worsen your case. So you see, what they are doing is that these acts are perpetrated by students, not just students, because I suspect that there are also external factors, because these students must be encouraged. If they are students, even staff, there are some of them who are not very comfortable with what is happening in the system. You know, certain crevices have been sealed. Loopholes have been sealed. People are not making money the way they used to make money before. And, there's a mantra in the university now. The mantra of the university is, to fight corruption, to ensure that things are done right. we have gone back to the real ideal of the university system. So, and that, of course, there is no way by which we fight corruption, and corruption does not fight back. No matter how lame that fight will be.
Prof, would you also admit that maybe the increment in school fees and there's sudden withdrawal of students must have, maybe it's one of those things making these guys go out to burn some places in school?
I will address that issue on two perspectives. Okay. Increase in school fees. This increase in school fees is also relative. In spite of the fact that I'm not a very competent person to talk about the increases in school fee. But I have an idea. When I was in the university.
Did you see that?
Yeah, as a student. Okay. When I was in the university as a student, my school fee used to be 12 naira. My total school fee for 4 years was about 500. I've calculated. It's about 550 and 550 and 30 something naira. 500. That's what that was what I used in school throughout. You will not expect a student who is currently in school under the present economic dispensation to go and spend 500 less than 600 naira to train himself in school, train himself or the parents to spend that kind of money on them in school. So when you talk about this increase in school fee, or there are no school fees. What you have are school charges. And then what also you should note is that when they talk about this increase in school fees per quote, in quote, where is the increase in school fee? Have you checked vis-a-vis, side by side, pari partout, or what they say in the Kegas Club, partout pari? Have you checked side by side what is happening maybe at our closest university here, the University of Uyo, and some other universities, especially in the South-South? I'm not talking about even the Southwest. As I'm talking to you, I'm aware that, for instance, in certain master's degree program, that is a postgraduate program in the University of Lagos, which is a federal university, established same age with the University of Calabar, they pay about 250,000 naira. The highest school fee in the PG school here, you can go and find out. Then you don't ask questions. Go to University of Port Harcourt, which is also our neighbor here. There are some programs in engineering that their school fees are paid in hard currency. Are you aware of that?
So would that justify the increment?
No, it does not, because you know that every year the services increase for the human beings that come in. You understand? So if the services, wherever you are buying things from, the price is not stagnant. So if there is a slight change, which may not even bother a student, you understand, and somebody goes to hide under that pretext that it is because of this. Okay, in any case, if there's increase, why are they paid?
How about the withdrawal? Talk to us on that.
Yeah, the withdrawal is the same scenario I painted before you. There are students in the university who have been students even before you were born. They have not graduated. They are still there. And for those set of students, if they don't leave, they don't have any business. They are the ones who influence the new one. Now, let me tell you what is happening. I was denied university admission because I applied at the age of 16. When I was 17, I was desirous to go to the university. And then, the caveat in JAMB used to be that if you are not 18 and above, don't bother to apply. I was now forced to go and redeclare that I was already 18, just because I wanted to go to the university that year. Of course, that is the age I am still using officially, because it had become my official age. Otherwise, I should be younger than my age by 1 year. But I needed to go to the university when I had to. Now, you discover that if you go to the university now, there are children of 13, 14 years that are there, because that will no longer subsist. They have the intellectual capacity to be in school, and so they need to be accommodated. Because what you require in the university is, your intellectual and psychological capacity. So if they are able to relate, they should be able to relate. So when you say students should not withdraw, you can't be in school and continue to fail exams. It is not what market that whether or not you have money, you go to market. Spar shop is there. Whether or not you have money, sometimes you go and take exit.
So you agree that this could also be one of those things that are bringing about the fire outbreaks? Definitely, I think that has been established. But let's look at management and the student. How is the relationship like?
I'm sure it is very cordial. Otherwise, we would have seen the real student, the real Aluta student, the real Nigerian student, the real youth of Nigeria protesting. Where
is the SUG president standing? Some people say he's on the side of the management. Some say he's on the side of the students. Because if we have an SUG president who is very functional, he should by now move into Malabo and the rest and talk to down there too, because this is not good at all for the only federal university we have in Cross River State.
Yeah, to comment on whether the SUG president is on the side of management or students, I may not be competent to do that. But you cannot completely absorb or completely remove him from relating with either management or students, because that's why he's there for. He is supposed to be a go-between between the two categories of people. He relates with staff. If he does not relate with staff, how does he solve problem? How does he mediate? So if he relies on students alone, you know the spirit of students. Of course, you know, even as they are on campus, especially, they have services that you cannot see anywhere. During my days, we used to say students' power is superpower, Babangida power is powerless power. Because anything you wanted, we will get. But now you cannot want everything and get it. That then was then. I schooled in the University of Jos. In the University of Jos, for the 4 years I was there as an undergraduate student, they never see light for one day, because Jos is a very terrible town in terms of cold. So you need water at all times. You need light at all times to heat your water. So if there is especially no light, there will be protest. But right now, you see the current set of Nigerian students, not just in Unica, are understanding of the fact that NEPA has even failed. You understand? So sometimes they have to adjust to that reality, in spite of the fact that for them, they are sure that there will be light at night.
Prof, let me quickly get to let Cross Riverians know this. We saw a release yesterday. Did it come from your school?
That
a new directive concerning the time school shuts down at 10. Gates are closed. Every other exit gates closed except the main gate. Talk to us on that new directive.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I'm sure it came from management of the university after some very extensive meetings yesterday. And we were forced to comply. But then what I want to tell you, what I want to let you know, is that based on my experiences, I worked in the University of Calabar. I'm a teacher in the University of Calabar. I schooled in both University of Jos and Ibadan. And I've had interaction with a lot of Nigerian universities. I believe very seriously that in comparative terms, the University of Calabar is the one that has the loosest sense of security. Because we have several gates that are open. We are now porous. We are just there at the center. So there must be a kind of regulation. For instance, if you go to the University of Ibadan, even if you are a vice chancellor in the University of Ibadan, because all their principal officers stay on campus, you don't go as you are at the gate a minute past midnight, they won't allow you entry, even at VC. I remember that even as students, we used to travel by night bus to Ibadan. Once you reach the main gate, by even 5:30 a.m., they will keep you there until 6 o'clock before the gates are open. So there must be this kind of regulation, because this one is intended to safeguard both lives and property.
Okay, Prof, let me quickly find out so that we do gradually wind down on this interview. Aside the very recent directive from the Public Relations Office there, what other checks do you think should be put in place to avoid future fire outbreaks in our great institution, Unicam?
Well, that one is very technical. You don't work for fire department or fire service department. No.
But you know,
sorry, sir. I don't work for fire service department, and I know, just like I told you, the Senate of the university is already boiling with what has transpired. Because right now nobody is safe. We are only lucky that over this period no life has been lost. It is just the grace of God. And nobody, you know, when you talk about loss of life, you don't know whose life will be lost over such things. So I know that right now the spirit of Senate is boiling. They will want to meet, and definitely they will institute what they call an inquiry, to unravel the situation and make recommendations and suggestions on how to mitigate this kind of occurrence the next time. But beyond that, I wouldn't say that these people are here to be identified. They can identify themselves. Because if you go to burn a department, what are you getting from the department? You are thinking you are destroying documents. Those documents are not destroyed, because we are right now almost at the paperless level of administration in the university. Administration, that is teaching results, discussions and whatever. We are almost at the paperless level. So if you are burning down documents, you are just destroying documents. In fact, you are helping us, because all those documents are no longer relevant. People have in fact, when they do graduate from the university, 2011, yeah. But you discover that if you go, the people who graduated in 1975, 1995, the records are still there. I was looking for ways to discard those documents. The only challenge here is the embarrassment they are causing to themselves and the university. But then you think that The people who are doing this are after the Vice Chancellor, Florence Obi. The university does not belong to her. The university is not a private institution. In fact, even for people who have private institutions, private universities like Atiku Abubakar or Afe Babalola, they don't run it like a personal factory. The university is governed by committees, by systems. That is what happened. So most of the decisions, even these decisions that you are seeing, do not come from her. They come, the bulk of the decision, in fact, she's just an implementer. The decisions are taken in Senate or taken by senators.
Okay. Professor, let me allow you go back. Before you head the Servicom that has to do with service delivery.
Yes.
Let's get your message for the staff and students and indeed the management of Unical in the way to ensure that this fire incident will not repeat again.
Well, what is there is that, Servicom is not advisory. Servicom's duty is to ensure.
In your own
and if there is a failure for you to deliver, Servicom sanctions. I won't tell anybody that is going to be sanctioned because we work like a non-descript organization.
But looking at it as a cross-riverian, yes. You are very passionate about Unical,
yes.
Because that's the only federal university we have. Yes. Let's get your advice to management and students.
Well, I wouldn't say, because over this matter now, you will not say who is at fault. We don't know who is responsible. But the only advice to those persons is that there is no need for them to continue because it's an exercise in futility. They are not succeeding in doing anything. In fact, for me, even if they are succeeding in doing anything, is a fact that they are going to increase assistance to the university. We are going to make a lot of noise about it. And for you, if you are thinking you are bringing Florence Obi down, with the assistant that will come to the university, you are even elevating her, that she is being very productive. For instance, she has been in the university for 1 year. I'm also surprised that departments are not partnering with us very well. Go and see the structures in the university, physical structures. Not this one you call somebody Mr. Development or Ms. Development without any development or with underdevelopment and maldevelopment. Go and see how the university is like a huge construction site. Go and see virtually all the buildings. About 10 of them simultaneously are completed. All of them are skyscrapers.
Professor Patrick Egaga, Director of Servicom, University of Calabar, many thanks, Prof, for your time on the show. We did bring you back to still talk more on. This time will not be any fire issue again. It will be something very big for the University of Calabar.
Thank you.
All right. Stay with us. It's still the Good Morning Cross River. It's the Thursday edition. We're not done yet. Don't go away.